At 66, in a world where fame is louder than ever, Anita Baker chose something different. No constant headlines, no need to explain her life, no pressure to stay seen. And yet, her voice never left. From Sweet Love to Giving You the Best That I Got, songs that didn't just top charts but defined a feeling, she built a legacy without ever needing to be loud. Now, in the quiet streets of Grosse Pointe Park, her life moves at a different pace, slower, more intentional, more private. And maybe that's what makes it so compelling. Because when someone who once shaped an entire era of music chooses to step away, you can't help but wonder, what kind of life does she choose instead? And where did it all begin? Not in Los Angeles, not in New York. Instead, she stayed rooted in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan, a quiet, established community just outside Detroit that feels almost deliberately disconnected from celebrity culture. House in Grosse Pointe Park. According to a late 2023 report by Detroit Metro Times, Baker has owned her home in this area since 1993, a detail that speaks volumes about long-term stability and personal intention. Because in an industry where artists often move from one city to another, chasing opportunity or image, Anita Baker stayed in one place for decades. And Grosse Pointe Park itself helps explain why. This is not a flashy location. It's not built for attention. It's known instead for quiet, tree-lined residential streets, historic homes with long-standing ownership, direct access to Lake St. Clair, a community culture that values privacy and stability. In many ways, it represents a different kind of wealth, one that doesn't need to be displayed. And when you look at Baker's career, her consistent sound, her refusal to follow trends, her controlled public presence, it aligns perfectly. Now, looking at the property itself, the numbers are clear. The home is approximately 7,300 square feet, around 722 square meters, with 4 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. It also features about 120 feet of lake frontage, offering unobstructed views of Lake St. Clair. These aren't just specifications. They point to something deeper. This is prime real estate, not because it's oversized, but because of where it sits and how long it has been held. Long-term ownership in a lakefront community like this typically signals financial discipline, not excess. But perhaps the most revealing detail is what we don't know. There is almost no public information about the interior of the house. No detailed descriptions, no lifestyle features, no curated images. Even during media coverage of the property, interior access remained limited, reportedly due to privacy concerns. Because in today's media landscape, celebrity homes are often used as extensions of personal branding, spaces designed to be seen, shared, and discussed. Anita Baker chose not to participate in that. It suggests a level of control that goes beyond real estate. It reflects how she has approached her entire career. Selective visibility, clear boundaries. So when you look at this house, it's not just a place where she lives. It's a reflection of how she has chosen to live. And that raises an interesting point. If her lifestyle is built on stability, privacy, and long-term decisions, then what does that translate to when we look at her wealth and financial story today? Net worth. As of March 2026, Anita Baker's net worth is estimated at around $10 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. And at first glance, that number might feel understated, because when you think about her influence, her voice, her catalog, her legacy, you might expect something much larger. But that's exactly what makes her story different. Because Anita Baker didn't build her wealth in today's music industry. She built it the hard way. Her early life was marked by instability. Abandoned at a young age, raised in Detroit, and later losing her adoptive parents while still a child. By her teenage years, she was already working and singing in nightclubs, trying to find a path forward. And even when she entered the industry, success didn't come easily. She joined Chapter 8, signed to a label, and was eventually dropped because executives didn't believe she had star potential. At that point, she went back to Detroit, working regular jobs, including as a receptionist and waitress. And honestly, that moment could have been the end. But it wasn't. In 1983, she released her first solo album, The Songstress. Then came Rapture in 1986, and everything changed. That album sold over 8 million copies worldwide, becoming one of the defining R&B records of its era. But here's the key detail. Most of that money didn't come in the way artists earn today. There were no streaming platforms, no social media monetization, no modern royalty structures. So the real financial growth came from something else. Touring, the core engine. Her 1993 Rhythm of Love World Tour generated around $12 million, making it one of the biggest financial peaks of her career, and directly contributing to major investments like her Grosse Pointe Park home. And decades later, she proved something remarkable. Her 2023 to 2024 The Songstress Tour sold out arenas across the country, described as highly profitable, even without publicly disclosed numbers. That's not just nostalgia, that's demand. Music catalog, long-term income. Over time, her catalog became her most valuable asset. Rapture, 8+ million copies. Rhythm of Love, approximately 2 million copies. Total career sales, approximately 13 to 17 million albums worldwide. And after 2022, when she regained greater control over her music rights, her share of royalties from streaming, licensing, and radio increased significantly. That means today, her music continues to generate income, without her needing to be constantly active. And what stands out most is this. There's very little public information about her investments, business ventures, or luxury spending. No flashy deals, no aggressive expansion, which suggests something important. Her wealth wasn't built on hype. It was built on longevity, discipline, and ownership. And when you connect that back to everything we've seen, the home, the privacy, the lifestyle, it all starts to align. But still, there's one part of her life that feels even more intentional than money: philanthropy. But in Anita Baker's case, it doesn't look the way most people expect. She doesn't run a large foundation. She doesn't attach her name to constant campaigns. Instead, according to available records, her charitable work has taken a different form. She contributes through presence, primarily through performances, appearances, and participation in fundraising events over the years, because it suggests a very intentional approach. One of the most notable examples came in 2008, when she performed at the UNCF A Night of Stars, the 30th anniversary event honoring Patti LaBelle. The event brought together major artists across generations and raised funds for Black colleges and universities, highlighting the importance of education within the community. That same year, she also appeared at the Miami Children's Hospital Foundation Diamond Ball and Private Concert, contributing to fundraising efforts for children's health care. It was a high-profile event, but her role remained consistent. She showed up, performed, and supported the cause without turning it into a personal narrative. Then, in 2012, she participated in Art for Life, a charity initiative founded by Russell Simmons. The event raised over $2 million to support arts education and youth programs, with Baker joining other public figures to help amplify its impact. And when you look at these moments together, a pattern becomes clear. Her involvement is real, but it's not performative. She doesn't position herself at the center of these efforts. And in today's environment, where philanthropy is often closely tied to visibility, branding, and public recognition, that approach feels different, more understated, more consistent with who she is. Because just like her music, her home, and her lifestyle, her giving doesn't need to be loud to be meaningful. And maybe that's the point. So after everything she has built and everything she has chosen to keep private, what does Anita Baker's life actually look like today when no one is watching? And maybe this is where Anita Baker's story stops being about music and starts becoming something much more personal. Current life. Today, Anita Baker lives quietly, almost entirely out of the public eye. There is no confirmed information about new relationships, no remarriage, no public displays of personal life. And honestly, that silence feels intentional, but it wasn't always this way. Back in 1988, on Christmas Eve, she married Walter Bridgeforth Jr., a businessman with a strong professional background. At the time, it looked like stability, like she had found a balance between career and personal life. And for a while, maybe she did. They built a family together. 2 sons, Walter, born in 1993, and Edward in 1994. And if you look at her story closely, this is where everything begins to shift. Because while her career was growing, her priorities were changing. Years later, in a 2020 interview with Essence, she reflected on that period in a way that felt honest and unfiltered. "I think there's no sacrifice too great for family. And I, apparently, was willing to sacrifice." That wasn't just a statement, it was a decision. At the height of her success, Anita Baker stepped back. Not completely, but enough to change the direction of her life. She chose to stay home, to raise her children, to care for her adoptive mother who was battling Alzheimer's. And in doing so, she walked away from something most artists spend their entire lives chasing: momentum. But what's striking is this: she doesn't see it as a loss. It was everything. But while that part of her life was built on intention, her marriage eventually became something else. After nearly 2 decades together, she and Bridgeforth separated in 2005. The divorce was finalized in 2007, though the legal process extended for years, involving disputes over property and royalties. At one point, the situation escalated to the level of legal pressure tied to unresolved financial documentation. And honestly, moments like that don't usually make headlines in the same way success does, but they shape a person just as much. In 2015, Anita Baker made a quiet but meaningful move. She legally returned to her original name. Not Bridgeforth. Baker. It might seem like a small detail, but in stories like this, it rarely is. Because sometimes, reclaiming your name is about reclaiming your identity. And that theme shows up again in another part of her life: her music. For years, she fought to regain control over her master recordings.
Would you guys say hello to a friend of mine by way of the music industry and by way of helping me to get a hold and ownership of my master recording?
Yes!
Mr. Chance the Rapper is like that.
And when you look at everything together, the sacrifices, the choices, the setbacks, the battles, you start to see a pattern. Anita Baker didn't just navigate fame. She stepped away when it didn't. And most importantly, she made those decisions on her own terms. So now, when you see her living quietly, away from the spotlight, it doesn't feel like disappearance. A voice that defined a generation. A presence that never needed to be loud. But what do you think? Did Anita Baker step away from fame? Or did she simply rise beyond the need for it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories that go deeper than the spotlight, stay with us. We'll see you in the next video.